I wanted on some time to get a recording of how you happened to come to Bangor. A number of people have asked me.
Yes.
And I never know the answer. I know that when you originally came,
Yes.
Abram was in Gardner.
That's right.
But how did he get to Gardner?
Well, you know, Abram came to Boston and worked in a shoe factory. See?
Originally.
Originally.
Why did you go to Boston? Everyone else went to New York.
No, because he had a friend that took him over to Boston.
Who knew him in Europe?
In Europe. That's right. So he came to that friend. And he stayed in Boston and worked in a shoe factory. In the meantime, a fellow from Boston, from Gardner, Maine, came to Boston, a fellow named Schlossberg. His name was Schlossberg, see? And he knew that fella in Boston. So when he came home, Abram, they was talking about it. So that Schlossberg said to Abram, he says, now that machine is running.
That's all right. That tape can be used over and over.
And then he'll take it off.
So he said to Abram, he said, what do you want to be in Boston, work for $4?
Oh, you want to find out how your father landed here?
In the shoe factory.
People have asked me.
Oh,
Listen.
yeah, I must know.
I'm telling you, just listen to the story, you'll know it, if you'll remember it. He says, what do you want to work in Boston for $4? Come with me to Gardner, Maine. See, you'll peddle and you'll make a little money. He says, all greenhorns do that. See?
I see. What was he peddling there?
Who was peddling?
Was Schlossberg peddling?
No, he had a little shoe store and overalls and caps for working men.
In Gardner?
In Augusta.
In Augusta?
Yes,
Oh.
that's only 4 miles from Gardner.
Right.
But he lived in Gardner.
Right.
But he had only 2 or 3 daughters.
Oh,
See?
the ulterior motive.
That's right. So when Abram Brown came to Gardner, see, he started peddling. He bought a horse and he started peddling.
He had saved this money when he worked
Yes,
in Boston.
that's right.
Schlossberg didn't help him.
No, but he lived at Schlossberg for $4 a week.
Aye.
Board in a room. What's the matter? Huh?
I don't know. Is there somebody there wants me?
No.
They don't want me, then let's forget it. I don't think there's enough noise out there.
Why?
They won't bother the children. Go ahead. No.
So Abraham Brown started peddling junk. And he called himself Ashkenazi. So when he became, he belonged to the Art Fellas. He belonged there. He went in for the Art Fellas.
Boy, he was a quick climber.
Oh, yes.
Right off, he joined the Odd Fellows?
Yeah.
How long had he worked in Boston?
Oh, he worked about 6 months.
Gee, he got Americanized very fast.
Yeah. So the guy says to him, one of the fellas say, what do you want to call yourself? Such a big name. Call yourself Brown. Change it to Brown. It'll be much easier. See? So he went to work and changed it to Brown.
Well, this he had to do legally then.
Of course,
There was
legally.
no reason for choosing Brown,
Sure. See?
was there?
Well, no.
So there was the old man Goldberg in Gardner, a junk man. He was buying the junk from the little fellas, like Bob Bryant's buying now.
I understand.
Those days, see, you bought rubbers and tires and inner tubes and drag and kashabab and everything. But, so in Gardner, that Goldberg had 2 little girls. They was about 15 or 16 years old. So Abram Brown decided, why should he look at Schlossberg's homely daughter when Goldberg has got money and he's got a nice little girl? See? He's gone around with that little girl. The old man Goldberg didn't like that at all. He didn't want a greenhorn or a son-in-law. He was a good-looking man and everything, a nice fella, but he didn't want it. He had a few bucks, and he said, what do you want a greenhorn for? You can get a nice American fella. And that old Goldberg used to raise merry hell. At night, they was in the park, so he went to the lantern looking for her. They was somewhere else. Those days, there was automobiles. So he used to go around looking for her. Where in the hell? In the library, in the benches, in the parks, everywhere. And he used to give him hard times. See? So when he used to bring the young and go would say, "What's the younger chap? What do you want from my living? She's a child. She's a baby. She's going to grammar school yet. What do you want
No,
from her?"
15, she wouldn't be in grammar school.
Whatever she was. Leave her alone. Was wisst für mir? Ich sagte, ihr bother hier nicht. Ich gehe noch hier. Sie kommt zu mir. I'll become arrested because you bother my daughter. She says, no, I'm arrested. Dus keren voor je toe, wat je wil. And that little girl liked him. And they, see, so they went around about a year or two. See, and they got married.
Then he was here quite a while before you came over.
Oh yes, he was but 4 or 5 years. So I had to go to the army, you see. I was about 16 or 17 years old. So, 18, you got to register yourself just like you do in America.
Yeah.
And then they call you into the army. So I says to my mother, I says, I don't want to go to the army. I'm going to America. She says, who's the form? Nou, als je kind, who's the form? Het gaat altijd een kastje. Tot nog, je voet. So I wrote to Abraham.
Excuse me, now I know why Melvin was fighting the army so much.
Sure. Well, for
Took after his
they
own
get
man.
6 cents a day. That's all the
6 cents a day?
6 cents a day. Austria paid 6 cents. Dit zijn roomgrieber.
Yeah, but they gave you room and board.
Klopt, ze zijn met de room and board.
What do you
Met de
mean?
lice.
Well, after all, nobody starved to death in the Austrian
No,
army.
of course not, but
All right.
I didn't want to. So I wrote to Abraham, and he bought me a shift card for $87.50 to pay out. 3rd class.
What do you mean to pay out?
He paid out $10 a month.
Oh, gee, they had the installment plan then.
That's
Oh,
right.
people made money. For
That's
example, there
right.
was a Goldberg that made a
Just
fortune
listen.
on those.
No, so that much.
Yeah, I had him when I had him.
So he sent me the shift card,
Helped you with having
and he sent me the transportation, paper. And I came to Holland. You had to have a visa, in Holland to go across the border.
You went by train from your home,
Yes.
which was where?
I went to Lemberg. And from Lemberg to Lvov. And from Lvov
it
to
was between Austria and Poland.
in Poland. See, you had to keep traveling like that, see? But when you came to just like you go to Canada, you got that papers. You
At the
couldn't get-
border, huh?
At the border.
And you went into Holland.
Yeah,
Okay, I can't visualize that on a map.
see? So I went in there. In that time, the Jewish people stopped running away from Russia because there was a big Kashanov. See, there was a big pogrom.
Look, I'll ask you about this later, if you can do me the favor. Let's get one version at a time.
See? So I came over there, and I hung around there for 4 or 5 days. See, there was thousands of Jews there. See, from Russia.
I see, and it all congregated there. They were looking for passage too.
Passage too, see? So, well, I see my money's kind of dwindling away a little bit, and I'm in a strange town. So when the ship come in, a cattle ship, see, that all cattle, they took us just like cattle. So I sneaked in between those fellows. See?
Yeah, but you didn't have passage on that ship particular. How'd you know which ship to go on?
I didn't give a damn. I had my papers. It didn't matter what ship. the ship, they took the ticket on any train, just like on any train. You understand? It wasn't, you didn't have to go on this train or on that train. You could go on any ship, they took you. See?
Well, that isn't the way it is today. I mean,
Today
if you buy
it's
a ticket on the Holland American line,
That's right.
you go on that line, you
No.
can't go to the New York
I'll
waterfront
show
and
you.
go aboard a ship.
I'll show you, I got the papers upstairs. I keep those papers, I got them. So I sneaked in with the boys, see, and they let me through. And the minute they let me through, next day there was a ship, and we went on that ship. And it took me about 18 days, and I came to this country. Now, Ash, you remember Ash?
Who visited here?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, I remember.
Well,
Yeah,
he
of course.
came to meet me. I sent him a telegram, my uncle. See, I had an uncle in New York. See, so I sent him a telegram.
From where?
From the ship, I sent him a telegram. They should come in and meet me when I get off the ship. See?
Well, you didn't send a telegram, it was a wireless.
Or wireless, whatever it was. See?
They have wireless then? When did you come here?
In 1907, I came.
In 1907?
I tried.
And they had wireless ashore? They must have.
I couldn't tell you. That's all.
But if you send message, then it must have been wireless.
I couldn't tell you.
They didn't hook on the
And
cable.
he came in the morning and stood the poor bastard from 1 and 9 till 7 o'clock at night. When I came off that ship, see, they asked me 3 questions and they let me out. See, they let me right
You
out.
don't have to go to Ellis Island?
Yes, I was in Ellis Island, that's right. And I went through there and they asked me 3 questions.
What do
I
you
was a
mean?
young kid.
They didn't ask them in English because you couldn't have answered them.
In Jewish.
Oh, sure.
Sure, there was a Jew there. Asked me, twee me voorste, door gevoerd to my uncle in New York. And I showed them the address. Kijk, it's on parade.
That's all the questions?
That's all.
They only asked you to whom you were going?
Yes,
They didn't ask you where you came from? Well, they had your papers. They knew where you came from.
that's all. See, and they let me out. See, and then a ship come in.
Well, did you have a physical exam?
Nothing.
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 No medical examination?
Nothing.
They just asked you where you were going.
That's right.
Boy, that's
And
some
they-
entry into a country.
Yes, sir. They let me out. See, and there was a little ship. I didn't eat for 15 days. I didn't eat anything.
Well,
Hardly anything because I was vomited on the. They used to lock me out on the deck and bring me back in the deck.
you were some sad sack.
Oh, I was as thin as that finger. You don't realize. I sat down on the wharf and I had a box of sardines with a piece of bread I can remember like today. See, and that's what I had for lunch. You know. See, I was so glad to get off that ship.
And that you might
See,
be.
and came a little boat and took me like from here to Oak Street or somewhere, some other. See?
Yeah, about that distance.
Yes,
Well, that was the distance from Ellis Island to the mainland.
to the mainland,
Yeah.
sure. And then I sat down on a bus and I showed the conductor where I want to go.
Don't give me that stuff. They didn't have buses.
They did too. They didn't have buses, they had
No.
trolleys.
Oh.
Trolleys with horses.
A horse-drawn trolley is not a bus.
I know, but that was trolleys. Those days it was
All right.
trolleys. And they took me right to the house almost.
Boy, that was good service.
I'm telling you, see, now. So I came into my uncle. Of course, I didn't know my uncle. See, but he knew I was coming, see. And it was before she was. 2 or 3 days before she was. So I stayed there for Yom Tov. And after she was, the next day I grabbed the train and went to Gardner. And I came to Gardner in the morning, my train ran into a freight train. About 4 o'clock in the morning. The engine ran in and
That would have been interesting.
yeah,
A standing freight.
a standing freight. Yes, ran in. Nobody got killed, thank God, nobody. So I had to walk like from here to Connery jump shop with my bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not far.
No.
About a mile.
About a mile, I had to walk. Then I came in the restaurant in Gardner, and I left there my bag, my rental, See, you know, valise.
Yeah.
I left it right in the restaurant. See.
Don't tell me this was a Yiddish restaurant.
Huh? A guy's.
Well, how did you talk to the man?
I didn't talk to him. With the finger, with the hand down. I just told him I want to leave it here. See? Can I lassen? Yeah, sure, leave it right there. And I showed him where I want to go, to Mary's Goldberg and Son, to the junction. So there was a fellow going to the shoe factory that next door to Goldberg, see? So I come in to Goldberg 6 o'clock in the morning. I remember just like today. So the old man Goldberg was chopping little kindling wood, see, to make fire in the morning. It was in July. He was making for breakfast. So I come in the yard, and I said, "Du ein Goldberg?" Sagt yes. Sagt, du bist Abrams Bruder? Sagt, yes. Ich bin with Abrams. Sagt, da schluft noch. Oh, so wächst him off. So Abram had us talking, he jumped down the steps, you know. See, and when I came there, I stood there about 3 months in the house. And when I came, Abram had a horse and wagon for me all ready to go peddling junk like he did. He was partners with the old man. See,
He was worked himself up already.
oh, well, he was married to his daughter.
Oh.
He was a junkman already. Big shot. So he bought me a horse and wagon. One day, he got me a partner. It was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. He had me a fellow from the city. We went out together peddling. And he showed me how to do it. Stimmerate. He didn't know nothing. So next day, that fellow wouldn't go with me no more. He says, "You don't pay him. You understand? You don't pay him." So my brother sent me out myself. He says, "Voor een rood werd gestritten. En klappen de eyes en zo de beschrijven recht met robbers, met wat de iron, whatever it is. Dat mogen geschreven op Yiddish. English of Yiddish. You understand? And I cried, you know. I drove out, but Jesus, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to come home. I didn't know how to do it. Of course, I could drive a horse all right. You understand? I know how to drive a horse. I wasn't afraid of that. Came to the time, I had my horse, and I had my own lunch, and I paddled about a week or two. Then, Abe Goldberg, you know Abe?
Yeah, sure. I remember
Abe
him.
Goldberg was a baby yet. He was maybe 10 or 12 years old. So I took him, it was vacation time, he didn't have no school. So I took him on the horse and bargain, we went out, he bought some junk for
This was your interpreter and guide.
and guy, yes. He came at night, we slept in a guy's house in a hay barn where there's some hay, beautiful hay. And at night the son of a bitch cried.
He was homesick.
You
You were welfare.
Yes, he wanted to go home. He wants to go home. So daarna, zo was het. Het was zo schonlijk mooi. De morgen werd je nog voor mij. See? And in the morning we went back. We packed up and we went back. We pedaled and we made a little money. And little by little I was doing that.
You can't do so.
I wouldn't see much.
You wouldn't know much about that.
Let me water, but you have cavities, that's me. In the market.
In the market?
That's why I stay in that house.
He was getting too many boarders.
That's right. He didn't like the idea of it. And when Abram used to get an order, he used to give me that order for the junk. You understand what I mean? Now, for instance, somebody would call up and they say, "We got 5 bag rags and a little robbers. They should send down there a horse and wagon after it." Abram used to give that to me.
They had telephones then?
Yes. Yes, they had telephones. Yes. Oh, yes, sure. He used to give it to me. You understand?
Sure.
Well, the old man Goldberg and Abram had fights.
Sure, you were getting the cream of the trade.
That's right. See, the old man didn't like that. So I moved out to another Jew. See, to an older people, you know, a couple. And I moved out there and I stood there about a month in their home. I peddled and told it to go back, you know, and Abram used to give me better price than somebody else. Then there was a fella, Belofsky in Waterville. He was a very smart junkie, you know, up-to-date junkie, you know, see? He was a sport. So he bought out in Bangor a junk shop. But he didn't have the money to swing it with, see? So he says to Abraham, he says, you know, I got a junk shop for you in Bangor. Would you like to buy me out? You'll make some money. Abraham says, yes, I'll buy you out. So Abraham come in Bangor and bought him out. In the dissolved partnership from the old man, he had a few $1,000s. And Ted Roosevelt was president at that time. Not Franklin Roosevelt, but Ted Roosevelt. And there was a crash in the junk, and Abraham Brown lost his shit.
That was a quick start.
1, 2, 3 robbers went to nothing. Everything went to nothing. It was such a crash like in 28.
Well, was that the war between Russia then? Did Russia have a war? Russia-Japanese war?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
After the war.
That's right.
Well, see, you fellas didn't even learn on that war.
But listen, but it was in our country though. See? And he lost his shit. So of course, but he had a go back for a father-in-law. You understand? So the old man Goldberg gave him a little money, and James Stryer, his father, had a shop in Ankle Street. He went broke, the old man. James Stryer's father. So Abram Brown bought him out. You know where Mac is in Brewer?
The baker?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That was our junk shop.
Oh, I see.
Upstairs there. See? That was our junk shop. See? So and he got broke there. What?
Avon went broke there.
Yeah, sure was.
What was James Stryer's father doing? What business?
In the junk business.
Also junk business.
Yeah.
That was his shop. Oh, he had the original shop on Hancock Street.
That's right.
I see. That's how he got to Hancock Street.
So Abram Brown bought out James Stryer, and the old man Goldberg came to his rescue. See? And he says to me, my brother says to me, listen, I'm up against it. The old man just gave me some money. If you want to stay with me, I'll give you $4 a week. See? And I'll give you the board and room. And we'll work together, and maybe we'll make a living. See? Well, I couldn't talk very much, and I didn't like the peddling. See, and I didn't have a nickel to my name. I was broke. I says, all right, I'll do it. So I went to work for A. Brown, and the market started coming back. Every day better and better and better and better and better. So he made, let's say, $3,000-4,000 right off that sum. And we worked hard from morning till night, 7 days a week and 7 nights. And we had a couple of men too, see? So Abram made a few $1,000s. And next spring came in the springtime, I says, I'm all through with you. Now you're a little back on your feet. He says, what are you going to do? I says, I'm going to open up a fruit store. See, in Gardner there was a fruit store for sale. I said, I'll buy the fruit store. Well, the old man Goldberg didn't encourage me to do that. He says, listen, there's noch a green, help dein Bruder, this and that.
He was taking care of his daughter.
Sure. You're single, they often come by, the dogs gone. So I tell you, I do it, we stay with the for 25%. Du bist 75, and ich will 25. So 1 year we stood like that. So I made a little money. Came next year, said, no, ich will 50 an het sterben mit dir. Ich will nicht, ich darf einfach weghargenen. Ich bin ein Single, aber ich will auch heiraten, ich will auch leben, wie du lebst, ich will auch arbeiten, ein Heim und alles. And we lived on Hancock Street, lived near the shop. She was the bookkeeper, Fanny was the bookkeeper, writing letters, doing things. And we worked very hard. And he couldn't help himself. He needed me, see, just like I needed him. Because he couldn't go out. Don't you know how that business is? You got to watch like a dog all the time. So he says, all right. So I stood with him and I made maybe $6,000 or $7,000. See, in a couple of years. So I met your mother. She came to visit, what's it?
Oh, the Marcuses.
The Marcuses.
Sure, yeah.
And I got married to her, see, and Abram Brown went to Boston. There was a cousin of Fanny's died, a junk man, and he went there in the junk business, Abram, and I was in Bangor. I ran Bangor and he ran the Boston.
Oh, I never knew that he had worked in Boston.
Sure. Gene was born in Boston. I see. Well, that's when you thought you'd find out. So he lost his shirt there.
Well, what happened there?
Well, he didn't know the ropes. On a big scale, it took a lot of money. He didn't have the credit. You understand what I mean?
It was a bigger plant.
Oh, sure. See?
Didn't have to be. It could have been the same as in Bangor.
No, everything is had to go on a big scale there. See? He lost his shirt. So he lost his shirt, and I was in Bangor. I was doing all right. Bangor was making money, but Boston didn't. See, we was partners on both ends. See, so what we was doing, he was draining out Bangor to keep Boston going. You understand what I mean? Well, so he come back to Bangor.
He closed it out.
Closed it up, sold out and closed up and come back to Bangor. I stood there a year or two and we made a little money and I said, I'm going to get married. I met your mother and I'm going to get married.
So how old were you then?
I was 24.
So you got here when you were 16?
Yes.
24.
Yes. See? So I want to get married. I met your mother. I wasn't going around with other girls. With this girl, but it didn't work. You know, it wasn't the way shooting. And I thought your mother was a smart little girl, you know. She was cute and nice. So?
Now you know better.
Oh, now I wouldn't marry her for the wool. So I married her, and after I married her, we got broke again.
Oh, so listen, I had a
Sure.
fight.
You picked up,
We had
yeah.
somebody who was here today, so,
Yeah.
well, you have to have life. You came to Bangor, son of mother. I said, I got you guys was mean and I was mad with that. I said, I had a beautiful face, don't forget.
Vanity.
I said it.
So,
Sheer vanity.
when I got married, I got broke.
You only took two poor projects.
Yeah.
One was getting married, the other one was the war.
See, I got broke again. Well, so we struggled again, and we made a little money again. Don't you know, that game is just like the stock market.
What happened that the market went so bad this time that you got broke right after you got married?
Oh, I don't remember, dear. I'm telling you, went to nothing. Went to nothing. But we stood a little bit, you know, and we come back a little bit. And it was all right, see? It was drawn out very little, worked hard, and we made a living, and we saved a little money. So then the war came along, the First World War came along, see? And the First World War came along, and we was making money like that. Bags was 48 cents a bag. You know those sacks?
A burlap bag. 28 cents for a burlap bag.
Yeah. The government was paying that, and we gave them nothing but bagging. See, a few bags outside, and inside was nothing but the rats and the mice chewed it up. See, they were filling them up with sand.
Yeah, I understand.
And they
Trenches.
Trenches. And they didn't care, just give back. And copper was high, and tires was high, and paper was terrific high. Everything was terrific. Gebrannt über Nacht. Today it was 5, tomorrow it was 8. Next day was 12, next day 18. You didn't know what price to ask. See? You understand what I mean?
I don't think it was that hectic during the last war.
The next war, but the First War. Then the war stops. everything isn't worth 1 penny. Nothing. I owe the bank, that's all I got, enough for the bank. So my brother says to me, Abe, he says, listen, my kid, I can't lie you. You're a married man with a family. I can't lie you. You'll have to look for another business. I'm hooked. I got that property. Instead, I got the old man Goldberg to back me up. Who's going to back you up? Maybe we could make it if we stay long enough, but I can't lie you. I can't lie myself. I got a family of my own. And you got a family.
He wanted you to put up as much money as he was going to put
That's
up
right.
for new staff, but you didn't have it.
I didn't have nobody, see? So there was a fella that he was selling rubbers, you know. It was 12 cents a pound, all rubber, see? We were used to tell them carloads, Lowentown, big people, you know. Tires, dope, you know, terrible thing. So I knew the fella, the salesman, that worked for him. So I says to him, George, he said, what shall I do now? He said, you know what I advise you to do? And I had Essex Street already. See? If I was you, he says, I go in the tire business. He says, you buy a tire, he says, for $8 or $10 off and you sell it for 18. You'll make a living, he said. You'll get yourself used to it. I says, I don't know anything about it. He says, Zuras lernt jeden knows. Don't have to know nothing, he said. When you want to eat, you'll learn. Well, I come home, I says to Mother, I says, listen, Mother, we got to do something. I'm going in the tire business. I'll get a couple tanks and I'll pump gas. She says, well, you know about it. I says, I don't have to know. I'll have to learn, just like everything else. I'm young and I'm going to learn. And I had 5 cents. I couldn't buy you one orange for a nickel. Yes, for a nickel. Now, for 5 cents. So I go into college. He was vice president of the First National Bank. I says to him, I want to borrow $2,000. I'm going into tire business. Well, he says, Leo, how can we borrow you $2,000? You haven't got nothing.
He wasn't wrong. What did you have?
Right. He was right. I said, listen, Mr. Collins. I says, you're absolutely right, I said. I haven't got nothing. I've got a few $1,000s tied up in the house, I says. I said, but I haven't got nothing. But my name is as good as my bond. I says, and I'll try my best to pay you and I won't cheat you out. He says, I know the Browns are good boys. They work hard. They attend to business. But if you ain't got it, where you going to get it to pay me back? I says, I don't know. But you'll have to give me $2,000. Well, he says, we'll have a meeting about it. I says, meeting? I don't care if you have a meeting. I want you to help me out. Mr. Collins, I says, you're a friend of mine. I know you are. And I want you to let me have $2,000 to buy tires. So he says, so I wouldn't get out of his office. He wanted to get rid of me, but I don't go. I stay right there and talk to him. See? And I plead with him. I said, I am a married man. I says, I got a family. I got a wife and a child. I got to support it. And I know what I'm doing. I says, I'll make a living. So he called in the president, Mr. Stetson, the old man Stetson. Yankee, fine as silk. No, better than colored. But I knew colored. I didn't know Mr. Stetson. Well, Leo, you're in a little difficulty, ain't you? I says, yes, Mr. Stetson, I am in a big difficulty. Well, we'll let you have $2,000. But who will endorse the note for you? Well, it says, Abram will endorse it if you want me to. He says, yes, if Abram endorses your note, we'll give you $2,000. 6%. All right. I got to Abram, I said, listen, I'm going to borrow $2,000 First National, and they want you endorse the note. He says, all right, I'll endorse your note for $2,000. So I go back to Mr. Collett and tell him that Abram will endorse the note, so they gave me $2,000. After Abram, I said, listen, I'm going to borrow $2,000 First National, and they want you endorse the note. He says, all right, I'll endorse your note for $2,000. So I go back to Mr. Collett and tell him that Abram will endorse the note, so they gave me $2,000. I fixed up a little store on Essex Street, and And I go to the stand-up and tell them I want to get 2 tanks to put in front. They said, no, they don't want it. It's a back street. They got plenty customers. They are not interested. So I go up and I talk to the Gulf. Mincher was that time. He's still with the Gulf. He's an old man now.
Geez, that's a long time. I didn't realize that Mincher was the original one there.
Sure. And I says to him, I'd like to put up a couple Gulf things. He said, surely, we'd be glad to do it for you. So they put up the 2 things, and I start buying Pennsylvania tires. And I was making pretty good. I didn't make no money that summer. See, it was in March. I didn't make the money. I made a little. And I struggled. And I had a store down on the square. I opened up a store in PJ's Block. You remember where PJ's Block is in the square? You know, there used to be lots of cars there.
Oh, yeah, I know the square. I
Yeah.
remember it was on the bottom part of the square.
That's
Eventually
right.
went up on the hill.
In the
top.
hills. That's
I
right.
remember the first one.
That's
Sure.
right. I was down there, paid too much rent, see, and I wasn't doing so good there. See, I couldn't take care of it. This store and the other one, you understand? Couldn't do it, see. I couldn't hire because it would be nothing left, see, so I had to struggle. And we was poor, so I says to Mother, I tell you, you stay here, Mother, we'll go board with Karitsky. So we went to board with Karitsky, and I had 2 children then. I had Jew and I had Melvin, see, and we boarded out. See? And I stood that 1 year like that peddling Gulf gas. When I peddled Gulf gas, I said to Mother one day, I says, I want never get ahead in my life so long I'll live. See? Because I'm young, I want to get it a little quicker than I'm getting it. It's coming a little too slow to me that way. See? So I says to Mother, you know what we ought to do? I think I ought to find me a little place somewhere and buy carloads of gas. I can make more money by carloads than buying from the Gulf. She says, how are you going to do it? I says, I don't know, Mother. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it somewhere. See? So I ran around the brewer looking for a place. And I looked and looked and looked. I started back, you can't. Nobody wants to let me in. They're afraid for the gasoline to blow up. This fella, Gitchell brother, says, no, I'm scared. Somebody light a match and burn the goddamn farm up and everything else. I won't let you in. So I came to Littlefield, and there was a dump there. See? Nothing but a dump. And I see that little piece of land. And so I asked who owns the land. So they said, Littlefield, the brick company. So when it's Mr. Littlefield, I says, would you sell that piece of land or rent it? He says, yes, I want $1,500. I says, for that dump, $1,500? He says, Leo, you'll make some money. Everybody makes money. You'll make money. I says, Mr. Littlefield, I have got $1,500. I have got 1,500 cents. Don't have to have it, he says. You pay me rent, he says. $10 a month. With an option to buy it when you have it. Jesus, that ain't bad. $120 a year rent? I'll take a chance. So I get, I don't know, a brother or somebody made out my papers, and I pay him $10 a month. So I have the land. Now I got to have a track. You got to have your spare track.
You gotta have a spur.
Yes.
I remember that.
See, because the Maine Central wouldn't back in a car of gas.
That's the fun.
See, wouldn't back in. See. So I go out to Mr. Colick again. And I says to him, and I'm paying on that note. Every month I'm paying a little, $100, $150, $75. According how one can and paying the interest. They like it very much. So he says, Mr. Collett, I got to have that spare track. I'm going in the gas business. So Collett says to me, he said, well, you know, how you going to do it? Well, I says, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it, Mr. Collett.
Oh, sure. Who's here, sure.
See? So the guy says, what's happening if you ain't gonna make it pay? You know, you don't own the land, you don't own nothing. You lose your $1,500. It's a piece of iron. What do you do with it? You do it $5 after you put it in the ground? Well, I says, Mr. Collett, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it. That's all I can tell you. It was in March. Snow up to here, see? And I made up my mind I'm going to do it, see? So it was the fellow named Rink in Oregon. See, they told me he's selling tanks, pumps, and everything. He worked for the Bowser. He was an agent for the Bowser people. Big concern.
What the devil?
Why the hell don't you bring in the telephone with you?
I can't smell the telephone.
The hell then. Don't bother.
I see it now.
See? So I got to Mr. Rink, and I says to Mr. Rink, so Mr. Collett says, he couldn't get rid of me. Just like a man with a gun, you know, comes in and says, you're going to
He
be...
could have gotten rid of you. He didn't want to give you the money.
I know.
Peter said no, and that would have been the end of it.
Huh?
That would have been the end of it. If he didn't want
I
to
know
give
it,
you
but
the
he was
money,
a very nice fella, and he liked me very much. So he gave me the $1,500, and they wouldn't take my check. The bank had to send a certified check. Before they put a shovel in the ground, they had to have the check there. And
the
Portland,
railroad.
the railroad, they don't trust nobody. So he gave me he sent the check to Portland. They came a month later, and they put the track in. Then I got Mr. Rink, and he sold me a tank, see, to hold 15,000 gallons. That was a little bit of a tank, you know.
Oh, 2 cows.
Not quite 2 cows. So he sold me the tank, and he sold me the pumps and underground tanks and everything. And I had to pay him out $10 a month, see, with interest at 6%.
You got off easy.
Yeah. The Bowser people took their chance. See? So I got myself all organized. Now I need a truck. See? So I went to L.C. Edwin. He was in Hollister across from the high school. See? Yeoman Edwin. And he let me have a truck, and I paid him down $200 and pay him 6% interest on the rest of the money. And I rigged myself up everything to the net. Now I need gas. See? Well, a salesman from the Esso people, they are Esso now, used to be Beacon Oil. They was in Boston. See, there was a little concern like City Service used to be years ago. So salesman comes in one Friday, you know, see? And he said, and they find out, you know, see?
How do they know that your Bowser must have told them?
Sure. And he drives up and he says, you put in independent gas? Yeah. I said, yes. And he told me who they are and everything. So he says, we'd like to sell you some. I says, I'd like to buy it, but I haven't got no money to buy it with. That's the only trouble is with me. Well, he says, I tell you, I stay in the Bangor house, and Mr. Chapman recommended you. They said the Brown boys are very nice boys, see? And we'll trust your car with gas. But when you sell that car with gas, we want you to send us the money. I says, okay, yes, that's fine. It's your money, it's your gas. No tax those days. And gas was, that time, 35 cents a gallon. Well, I bought it for 18. See? afraid it was a cent. 19. Well, Jesus, if I got 5 cents a gallon, I'll make 10 cents, 8, 9 cents a gallon. Clear money. Well, my eyes will pop out right off quick. Become a millionaire overnight. And I got myself, and I got my truck, and I got everything. I got a car, gas, and I couldn't unload. I didn't know how to unload. So that Gary worked for the Gulf people. See, the old man Gary that stole my things. I says to him, would you unload my car gas for me? He says, I can't do it now, but tonight when I get through 5 o'clock, I'll come and show you how to do it. And Tom Wakely worked for me that time. You don't remember Tom Wakely? You remember? Tom Wakely, him and I went down. He was driving the truck for me. We went down, unloaded the car gas. And next morning, I'm in business. Put up a sign, and I was in business. And cars used to come on both sides. So I didn't have brains enough to keep track of it, how much I'm taking out from that thing. But $100 bills was coming in like a son of a bitch. $600-700 a day. You understand what I mean? Jesus Christ, I send them down there. He comes back with 200 gallons gas. Praise me. I don't know anything well. I had nobody to teach me, see? Because I'm too busy near the pumps. I had Ruben working for me, and this fella, bunch of kids, 5 gallons, turning that handle, on that straight.
No electric pumps.
No electric pumps, and on both sides of the streets, cars. My God, cars from the ganze Welt, cars. You've never seen so many cars in your life.
Sure, it's a good buy.
See, sure. People found out. Jesus Christ, that's a big sign. And people found out just like a house of fire. And I'm busy, and then mother was taking the money, and I and 2, 3 boys waiting on the trade, see. And Tom Wakely, and we sell tires, and we sell this, and we sell an oil, and make money. That's how I made $1,000, just like this. 1, 2, 3. I become a big man. I got money.
How'd you sell gas after you only had 200 left?
Oh, I called them telephone. I said to them I didn't keep track of it, and I haven't got a drop of gas. They said, they'll send you out a car, but you send us a check. I said, I'm mailing you a check now, and be sure to send me a car. He says, all right. And it took 2 days, and I had a car gas. Then I kept track of it. Every load I took out, 700 gallons, my tank lit at 700, you understand? Keep track of it, and I saw when I got only 4,000 or 5,000 in the tank, I wired right off, send me a car gas. I'm sending you a check. And that's the way I kept going. Then I said, one little tank is not enough. I got to have another tank. So I bought another tank, and another tank, and another tank. See?
You had a whole string of them.
Oh, I had a whole string of it. You never come. Now you bought filling stations and everything else, and that's the way it kept going. Then the State Street come along to sell. I go in the bank, I tell them I want to buy State Street. Oh, no, they wouldn't listen to that. You'll get yourself all involved till you lose what you got. I says, I don't care. I got that $5,000. I'm going to buy that station on State Street. But that was the first station on State Street.
Oh, wait a minute. You made $10,000 or $12,000 the first summer with gas?
Yes.
Boy, that's a lot of money.
Darling, I was making 8 cents a gallon clear.
Yeah, but gee, that...
Why, I was
8 cents a
peddling.
gallon.
I was peddling 2, 3 cars a week.
That's a lot. I remember that slightly. I mean, I remember being very busy.
Darling, we was making money like a farmer, they say.
Yeah, but that's a terrific lot of money to make because...
Well, you made
there was no
$800.
tax. Yeah, but you had almost no income tax at that
That's
time.
right.
On $10,000, you didn't have to pay income tax.
Nothing. And you had men for $5 a week or $6 a week.
So you were making a fortune of money.
Sure, I was. I made that summer. That would put me on my feet. You understand? That would put me on my feet.
So how come Gulf and Standard didn't object when you cut the price that much?
They didn't give a goddamn.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. But one time the manager from the Standard come up and he says, you know, I kept the umbrella open. See, you all fellas ducked under that umbrella, but I'm going to close that umbrella and let it rain, he says. I says, when you do that, whatever his name was, I says, I'll close up shop for a week or two, and when you get kind of cooled off, I'll open it up again, I said. See, so I says, you ain't going to drive me out. I'm sorry. I'm going to stay in business just the same.
How come you only needed $5,000 to buy State Street? They asked a lot more money than that for that property.
I paid $16,000 for that.
But you had 10 of your own?
5. I gave him $5,000.
What do you mean you gave him $5,000?
The man that I bought the property, I gave him $5,000.
Oh, and then you paid off the difference.
Sure,
Oh.
6%. He
But
took the
you
mortgage
made-
himself.
Oh.
The guy took the mortgage.
He took the mortgage.
Well, I had to pay for the tanks and for the trucks and for this and for that. Well, geez, I started paying a little bit.
Right.
And I put up a filling station and this and that. Took a lot of money, you know. And that's where I worked myself up. Thing up.
I have to go out of business most of the
Because the
time.
war came along and we couldn't get no
Oh,
gas.
the second war came,
None of it, Joe.
but how about oil either? Oh, oil either, I remember.
Coupons. You didn't have
Coupons.
coupons.
That's not what happened when the coupons went out of business.
You
You
don't
remember
remember
the
that.
coupons?
But actually, you went out of business before the Second War came along.
No,
No, Adam.
No, dear. I couldn't get no gas. I was squeezed to death.
They squeezed all they wouldn't
See,
give
the
them
big
gas.
fella, the government.
And they didn't have enough gas, so they didn't care to give them a boatload. If they wanted a boatload, they had to pay the same amount of money as
As
if
a
he came
peddler.
with as a peddler. So the
You
peddler
understand
with
what I
the
mean?
truck was better off than we are. The peddler.
I had
one
no
truck.
one here. They couldn't take it.
We were lucky to rent it because what could we do with even how about you just say if you have your thing still no good anymore.
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
today
give
I
you-
can go out and buy somewhere, but then I couldn't buy. The government closed right up.
But you didn't rent the tanks until after the big
That's
was
right.
over.
That's right. See, but I could rent my filling station.
Yeah, but after that, Leah, they didn't give you so good a margin.
No.
You wanted, that's why you
That's
were anxious
right.
to rent.
That-
Because they gave almost just as much to the men who only had a truck
That's
as
right.
they gave you with a
Because there was
boatload.
no staff.
So it was harder on you, and thank God
That's
you
right.
rented it all up. So now he's only a peddler, but we have to rent from the tank.
But actually, you had gotten rid of most of the filling stations
Yes.
before the war
Yes,
started.
you did.
Yeah,
And the reason for that was that there wasn't sufficient margin
that's right.
so that you could cut the price up.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Meet
what I'm trying to say.
competition.
That's
Sure,
right.
that was the main thing. I said it closed up on you, the whole
That's right.
That's why you think so few independent
Yes,
Yes,
that's right.
That's
That's
wrong. They don't give them
The
more.
overhead is big and the margin is small.
How many are there? There's one on the Fort Road, there's
They're,
one downtown.
they're
It's gonna have to
very
be
rare,
two.
independent stations. What
But
has
still there
happened?
are a few.
Yeah,
How do they do it?
They struggle.
they don't do too well, I'm
No,
sure.
they're not, they're not.
But- And they haven't got the overhead yet. We were equipped for big, real wholesale.
That's right.
So that's why we had too much overhead.
The price of gas.
You know, I was
down.
going to tell you my
Martha is going to
Martha.
say Martha.
you know, see, Judy, you know, I buy in Houghton for me about 110 miles from Bangor. And it's
Oh, Houghton's a little further than that.
how much?
I don't
So
know.
what's the difference?
I buy a station there,
To border state.
and I'm running a business, see? And I'm running a junk business and a gas business. So I said to my son, he was in college, so he come out, I said, you know what, my son, you go up river and run the junk business. So I go up there, and I put him in business, and I leave him $2,000. I leave him $2,000.
He was really young then.
Yeah, he was a youngster.
About
sure.
19 years old.
Yeah. He ran out without money.
He ran out, he bought, that's like with Bob and a Bob's trouble.
See?
First you have to buy the junk. You have to have a lot of
Yeah.
money
So
to
he
buy.
runs out without money. So he
Runs
goes
out
into
without
the
money. Runs out of
bank.
money.
He goes into the
They didn't
bank,
know.
and he bought us $2,000. He gives him a note and bought us
Edwin didn't know
$2,000.
better.
And he's in business again, and he called me at night. He called me telephone. He says, you know, I haven't got a nickel. I had to go in the bank and borrow $2,000. She says, you better come tomorrow and send me some money so I can stay in business.
Well,
They didn't know you. How did they give you the money? They didn't know you were a youngster.
they just gave me credit enough to cover the check. You
Check.
see, I was buying scrap
Yeah.
from these farmers.
Yeah.
Well, the stuff was coming in, and I was writing checks, and in one day I could write out more checks than I had money for in the bank to cover those checks. These fellows were going directly into the Houghton Bank and cashing them,
Oh.
so that the bank honored the checks.
You look like a youngster to them too?
Well, of
Sure.
course. Yeah, think about her father.
Yeah, but they didn't give
They
me
needed to
credit.
make
They didn't give me credit on my own.
No, of course not.
Did they
They
know
were
your
giving it to
father?
Leo Brown, not to me.
How did they know him? He was in Bangor.
Well, I'm sure they checked out.
Oh, they called us.
They wouldn't have any trouble. I mean, they called Merrill Trust.
What did you have, a regular junkyard there, or just
Sure.
right near the railroad?
No, a regular
Regular
junkyard.
junkyard.
Well, it was set up. All
Before the end of the summer you sold all that? You shipped it all
Oh,
out?
yeah,
Oh,
sure.
it was
Only
all.
You made
one
some money,
season?
too.
You only had it at one season?
No, I was only there one.
Yeah, and how long did Philip have it?
Oh, we had a
He
few
stayed
years.
a few years.
But after you left, were you still in partners with Philip?
No. That, it was closed down tremendously. I mean, the yard that we had was along the railroad tracks and the small outbuildings that we used. Well, that was all closed up.
Why?
Why?
Well, because you went out.
No, there just wasn't enough business to warrant
Oh, that's
keeping.
all right.
They
That
had
summer
solar
was the
plants going.
biggest summer, I
Yeah.
see. But Philip, if you was a hard worker,
You could make a living there.
But then you, when Edwin went away, you dissolved partnerships with Philip.
No,
He
it
was
took a little
undone.
while.
Well, a little
Then
while
I-
longer, but you let him Philip run it after
That's right.
Edwin went to school.
That's right. I didn't want it no more. I pulled out my money.
Were you a senior? You still had a year or two in college, didn't you?
No, I was older than that. It was the summer before I entered dental school.
Oh, I see. You were.
I had gotten a couple of years of college
I
off. Yeah. But that wasn't quite as bad as this fella selling oil on one carload and figuring there'd never be an end to it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
the guy
dumb, but
was
it
young, I didn't know anything about
But
it.
they still did
And that money was coming in so fast, and business was so terrific, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. Why, I didn't know what the hell. I thought the money's coming from heaven. What's the matter with you?
It's still a very
Then all
funny
of a
story.
sudden his paint got dry. He had nothing
To buy one carload of oil
A carload of oil, he
and
thought it
forget that
was
you'd ever have to buy another. That's hard to imagine.
You're a child. You thought
Yeah, well, all right. He didn't
Well,
know what it was.
couldn't be.
Thank God it was all right. Came out all right.
Sir.
So what is this one? What is
Just the
this
same
working
like
on
you
my
were-
dog? Is this working now?
It's a very smart machine. It
Yeah.
works all the
You
time.
know,
Well, they won't hear. We won't
Edwin,
know.
you're saying to me like that, like I would put you in the Merrill Trust for president, and I would see how you would run president for one day. You
Oh.
wouldn't run the president for
Oh, no, not
Well,
this
that
one.
was exactly to me the gas business too. If I had a little common sense,
Oh, don't talk all that
Come to me.
because the posterity doesn't have to hear it.
see, I would know, you know, that every time you take out 700 gallons, mark down 700 gallons, and then at night, figure out you took out $3,500, you got to get another car gas because tomorrow you'll be dry. So I was a Melamed. You know what a Melamed is?
Oh, sure.
In Jewish?
Sure.
That's what I was.
I think you were a schuster, too.
I was working.
I was.
Yeah, but
I've
you-
got to stick a picture in here, yeah, from years ago.
Well, will you tell us how you met my father without telling us how
All
pretty
right,
a
that's
girl?
really.
All right. You can start any time you want.
You see, I was planning a vacation to go somewhere. And my mother had cousins here that she always wanted to see. And in those days, you know, from New Jersey to Bangor was like taking a trip to Europe. There were no automobiles.
You came by train.
Oh, no, I came by boat. By boat? Yeah, an overnight trip by boat. There was that boat, there was a boat between New York and Boston, and one between Boston and Bangor. We had a lot of fun. I think perhaps we went by train as far as Boston.
I've taken the boat from New York to Boston.
Yes.
as
Oh,
a
did
little
you?
girl.
Must have been a very little
Yeah.
girl. Because that's many years ago. Then.
I remember the Boston boat. Even when I was a youngster, when we went Boy Scouting,
Oh, you remember the wasted land here in Boston?
I remember swimming in the river and getting pulled around by the pressure of the boat.
Is that so?
Sure.
Do you remember Charlie Bernstein?
Yeah, sure.
That's the boat he disappeared from.
I didn't know it was that
Yes,
one.
that's-
I remember.
Well, we
that
don't
he
know if
disappeared.
that one or he went to New York on another boat and jumped off the boat. Somebody said they played cards and some gangster took away the money from him and threw them in.
Well, that is not
It's possible. It was a mysterious disappearance, that's all
That's
you
right.
know. He
That's
was a
right.
fellow in town, he just disappeared off a boat. That's all I
That's
know
right.
about him.
See, he had diamonds, a few diamonds on the market to sell, and they say that that would happen. He played cards with somebody that threw them
Well,
in.
that has nothing to do with my story.
Let's hear how she happened to meet you. This should be very interesting.
Why, is it going now, what we are talking?
Yeah, this always goes.
I know, does that record?
Oh, sure, it always records.
Whatever we're talking now?
Whatever you want to say.
From Charlie Bernstein?
Charlie Bernstein, too.
Well, we're hoping for some more interesting morals, but they didn't happen.
Well, what do you want Charlie Bernstein to Well, shut it off.
All right, let me tell you. My mother was very anxious to meet her cousin, Mrs. Marcus, that Leah Marcus, you know. But we weren't millionaires, you know. We couldn't all take the trip at the same time. And in the meantime, Jenny and I were planning to take our vacation, to go out with some of the girls to a camp, I don't remember now. She said, everybody goes to Maine. Why do you go somewhere else? I had a very lovely letter from my cousin. Why didn't you go and see my cousins in Maine? So my mother wrote, and we received a nice invitation, and we came to Maine. We came to visit the Marcuses. And there was a big family, and Mrs. Marcus was a Wallace. And there was a big Wallace family. You remember perhaps Yana Wallace from East Summer Street?
No, I
He
only
had-
remember Joe Wallace from across the street.
Oh, yeah, him you
That was his
remember.
brother.
Well, his brother
Yeah.
had, at that time, even he had a store. He was fairly well off. You know, when we came, he had a store across the street from the station,
From the Main Central.
from the Main Central Depot.
Yeah, I never remembered that.
Oh, no, not in your time.
Oh.
So I always remember we came, it was just across the street, one of our cousins lived, from the depot. So we hired a taxi. We could see it, we knew where it was. So the taximan drove all around Bangor and then came back to there and charged us for it. That's okay. Well, anyway, Mrs. Marcus had two daughters, Nettie and Goldie. Goldie was very beautiful. And then there was a Mrs. Ames, a sister of Mrs. Marcus, another cousin of my mother's. This Mrs. Ames had a son your father went around with, Sam Ames.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember Sam. I remember his son Sidney.
Sure.
He has two children, too.
Sidney?
Yeah. So I came to Bangor for 2 weeks. I was a whole week in Bangor without even hearing of your father's name. Nobody even mentioned him.
Do you have any other dates?
No, and he wasn't even looking for dates.
Can you imagine? What did you do for a whole week?
I don't know what we did those days. I didn't go to dances.
You mean you just sat around and talked for a whole week?
Just visited from one cousin to another. I really don't remember. What did I do all week?
No.
Until I met your
One
father,
week.
I didn't do much.